Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on, guys? It's Filthy and I'm back with another video. Today we're doing the Season 21 starter guide for the Monk. So this is going to be a complete 0 to hero guide. So we're going to start at level 1 with our challenge rift bag, go all the way up to 70, all the way up to GR100 and show you how to do that as quickly and as easily as possible. So we're going to talk about how to spend your challenge rift bag, the order to do things, what to spend your mats on at 70 to get Sunwuko Tempest rush set up as quickly as possible. Not going to talk about Wave of Light. I did do a guide on that a few days ago, so I will link that in the description. That's more of a speed setup, so great for keys, great for speed farming, GR90s in 3 minutes with 800 Paragon. But we're going to be setting up Tempest Rush to get to 100 as quickly as possible. Now, there will be a full written guide in the description with also any kind of further videos that I've made that refer to, so Sunwuko Push, for example, or the Wave of Light. But other than that, I think we'll just kind of jump into it. Now, if you are new to the channel, welcome. Do consider subscribing. I've got a couple more guides to make before Season 21 starts. We'll still make some videos after the season is launched as well. But the most important thing is the season starts on the 3rd of July, so the challenge rift will reset on the 29th of June. You need to make sure you don't do it that day. You need to save it until after the season has started and you've made your seasonal character. Once you've done that, you're free to beat the challenge rift and grab the goodie bag inside. Now this will give us some mats and we can use them to rank Hadrig up to max level. That's really handy because it means we can craft level 70 items. But before we start any of that, what we're going to do is either take the Templar's weapon before you hire him because it's going to be better than yours, or if you think that's a dick move, you can come here and buy one off this merchant here. He's also normally got some life per second gear at level 1, which is fairly handy. Once you've geared yourself up a little bit, you can then have a little quick check in Act 2 to see whether Zoltan, Khulle or Maghda are a boss bounty. If they're not the bounty, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't bother restarting the game, but if they're there, you may as well. It's only going to take you a few minutes. You'll get a little Diabolic Horde chest, and again, that's got some gear to help power you up. Now, the next thing to do is to go and get the cube. So you go to the ruins of Cesars. It's fairly easy to find in there. This is quite a densely populated area, so you will get some decent XP. You're not going to go too high because if you went past level 16 that would affect your blood shard rolls, but don't worry, you won't be by the time you get back, but you'll get some XP, so it's not too bad to come back. So at this point you should have the cube, you should still have all of your mats, and Hadrig should be level, max level basically. So first thing to do is a fist weapon. Now the reason we're going to do this is because the upgrade is going to help guide us with our blood shards, and also there is a chance that on this secondary here we could have landed reduced level requirement. We haven't on this one, so that's absolutely fine, but you might get absolute god RNG and land yourself a 25 reduced one, in which case you could stick it in the stash and save it for later. Now you take this over to the cube, you go to recipe 3, so upgrade rare item. You can only do this once with your mats, so it's complete RNG whether you get something good. So you stick it in, hit transmuse. Now first thing to do, obviously make a note of which one it is you get. This one's not particularly great. It gives us some damage reduction, so useful, but it's no multiplier. It's not going to help us with damage, which is generally the most important thing. But before you stick whatever you get in the cube, just check the secondary. On this one it's rolled with max spirit. Again, it's very rare, but it can still drop with reduced level requirement, in which case you will want to hang on to it rather than stick it in the cube. Again, it depends on the level. If it's above 20, I'd keep it. If it's below that, I would stick it in the cube anyway. If you get an ancient one, ancients can roll 30 to 40 reduced level requirement, but it's really expensive to roll them. You're not going to have many chances to do it. So I did get an ancient one last season. I saved it. I tried to re-roll it. I just missed it every single time. So I was getting Forgotten Souls with any legendary I found, and I just didn't hit it. So I probably would stick it in the cube if it's a decent one. So let's hop on to D3 Kadala and we'll talk through the options that you might get, because obviously Crystal Fist is just one of many. So as we can see here for the fist weapons, there are quite a few of them in this loot pool. Some of them are absolutely awful and won't help you at all, but the ones I'd say to look out for are going to be Kishira's Blade, because this will buff up Wave of Light, which helps tremendously with the Sunwuko 6-piece bonus, because Wave of Light is one of the buffable skills. We have a Lion's Claw, which will do 7-sided strike. Okay, but that doesn't really pair very well with Sunwuko. We've got a Scarbringer, which would be very good because this would give lashing tail kick damage. Again, pairs very well with Sunwuko. Can also get a Vengful Wind, which is kind of key weapon to setting up a Sunwuko monk because it increases sweeping wind stacks, and that's how the 6-piece mechanic works on the number of stacks of that you have. It does also increase your sweeping wind damage whilst leveling, so again, fairly handy. And then a 1 Kim Lao would buff up Tempest Rush as well as giving you a Cyclone Strike. So again, they're some of the really good ones. Now some of them in the pool are absolutely useless, like the set fist weapons aren't going to help you. A Logan's Claw isn't really going to help you. So it's just RNG, you just take what you can get. Now the reason we do the fist weapon first is because it will give us a bit more information about rolling up blood shards. Now the pool is exactly the same up until you get to level 17, so if we pop this up, it then changes because the bindings of the lesser gods come in. Again, it's still a multiplier, so it's not the end of the world, but you want to roll your shards early, and I'd say unless you get the weapon that pairs with the Riviera Dancers, so if you get the Scarbringer buffing up Lashing Tail Kick, if I got that I would roll shards on boots, because a multiplier on top of a multiplier is going to absolutely hit really hard. But other than that, I would be going for braces, because Cesars Memento is a pretty big multiplier on Tempest Rush. You just need to make sure that you're getting a blind, freeze or stun off, so you need to select the monk generator that's got a freeze on it with, I think it's the Fists of Thunder, one of the early runes has freeze on. You can also take the blind ability that the monk has, the blinding flash, so again you can do spike damage with that, so you just need to make sure you do that and you'll be good to go with these. Again, pair really well with Sunwuko, sort of 6-piece bonus. Gundo gear, exploding palm, again, maybe if you got the Lion Claw you would want to roll for this because you're looking to pair the two together, it would be more beneficial. And then Pinto's Pride, again, buffs up Wave of Light, slows the enemy, which is nice. So again, if you got the Kirishira's Blade, you might want to roll multiple times. So it's about 87% chance that you'll get a legendary out of your blood shards. But let's say I had the Kirishira's Soul, the Kirishira's Blade rather, I would probably, even if I got Gundo gear or Cesar Memento, take a few more stabs at this, because obviously, as I say, the double multiplier will help us. But if, let's say, you get a trash fist weapon, I would basically stop as soon as I got a multiplier, and then personally, I would move on to the Leorics Crown, just because getting the red gem in here for the extra XP and the up to double value on it is going to be very handy, and it is going to make you getting to 70 a lot faster. But the website I will link in the description, so you can certainly have a play around, and if you get yourself a blood shard goblin at like level 45, you can stop, come on here, have a quick look and say, look, what is there for me to roll for shards? But do remember guys, you can always make an alt character and come back and get any of these items, so as you're putting Sunwuko together, you can always have a Cesars Memento in the cube, very easy to get. Same for the Riviera Dancers. If you ended up with a Lashing Tail Kick fist weapon, you might want to come back and get a pair of these for your cube. Now once you've got your fist weapon, obviously you're going to have to extract it into the cube if you want to use it. You're then also going to spend your blood shards, as we've just been through on D3 Kadala. But after that, what I probably would do before setting off, just so that I know where I'm up to, is come back to Hadrig and craft a 2-hander. Now realistically, this is the biggest tip that you can ever have for leveling. This is what makes the biggest difference. So you can come here and go 2-handed mace or 2-handed axe, either is fine. Craft one up and just check it out and see what it rolls with. Now on the secondary, you need to hit one with CC on it, so this one is no good, so if you got this, you would just craft another. Now you've got mats, you can make a few of these, but I'd probably be a little careful with it. So bad luck so far, so neither of them have got CC on. Obviously the more you get with CC on, the more opportunities you get. So this one's okay, this one's perfect, it's got life per hit on as well, so we've got a chance to chill on the secondary, so we can re-roll off the monster XP. So we hop over here to Miriam, stick it in, and then click the question mark just to double check. There's only 3 options here because it does have life per hit. If we didn't have life per hit here, life per kill would also be an option, so this is kind of your ideal. Click this property and then you want to re-roll it. Now it is fairly expensive to replace with gold. It's a balance, you've got to balance gold against mats, so you want to take a few stabs at it. But because we've already bricked 2, we're not going to have a chance to make too many. But level 18, that's pretty good. I normally say anything over 20 is worth keeping. So again, you have to kind of play this by ear. So this goes in the stash and maybe have another stab at it. So you take maybe a few more rolls just to see if you can get it above 20. And then if you don't, so there we go, 21. So I probably would keep that and I probably would stop this process. So At level 49, I know I can come back and get this, so you stick this in the stash, come back at 49, and it's obviously a huge damage increase in terms of the damage roll on it. Dex and Vitality will make you really tough as well, so you can juice the difficulty up to, high Torment levels and just really rock it through the XP. Other than that, red gem in your helm, red gem in your weapon as your level, and again, just build around what you get in the game. It should be fairly straightforward. Now, when you get to 70, you're going to get Sunwuko pieces. So Sunwuko will give us 50% damage reduction on the 2-piece while Sweeping Wind is active. Fairly handy, damage reduction is quite nice. And then the 4-piece, every second Sweeping Wind spawns a decoy next to the last enemy hit, taunts them, and then explodes for 1000 weapon damage. Early game, it's okay, but later on in the game, the 4-piece is pretty meaningless. 6-piece, Lashing Tail, Kick, Tempest Rush, Wave of Light, all have the damage increased by 1500% for each stack of Sweeping Wind. Now, when you get to 70, you've got 2 basic mat types. You've got your Death's Breaths that you'll collect when you kill enemies. You'll also get Blood Shards. So really, Sunwuko's key is going to be the fist weapons. So Vengeful Wind is the absolute #1 priority. So you want to keep upgrading fist weapons. Now, because we've shown how many there are in the pool, this is a frustrating process. It can sometimes take a long time to get the ones you need, and sometimes they can pop out. So we will talk about what you can do with Shards to try and get some more multipliers, but DB priority would be Vengeful Wind #1, Wankim Lao #2, because this is the other fist weapon that goes with Tempest Rush. Balance is a Diabo, so it's easier to hit this. There are less in the pool, so again, maybe if you're really struggling with the Sweeping Wind, you could swap over and do some Diabos just to try and get this, but it would be that kind of order: 1, 2, 3. After that, I'd be working on jewellery, just rings, because obviously you're going to get a Sunwuko amulet, so essentially they're the 2 kind of priorities. Convention of Elements, Zodiac is pretty good. Maybe you could get lucky and get a couple of Unities, Justice Lantern, something to buff up your toughness, but Broken Promises, there's lots of decent rings in the pool, so DBs 1, 2, 3, and then rings 4 and 5, and as I say, you might well get stuck on the fist weapons for a while. Now, in terms of shards, what I would do is I would basically roll for braces. So I'd go back, make an alt character, and get some form of multiplier on braces if I didn't have one. Again, you're looking to build around whatever fist weapons you get. So if you got the LTK fist weapon, make an alt character, go back and get the boots for the cube, and just try and put something together as absolutely best you can. But other than that, in terms of blood shards, priorities are going to be definitely #1, a level 70 pair of Cesars Memento, so I would roll braces first. Then I'll be looking to pick up a Mantle of Channeling. Can also hit your Lefevres Soliloquy, which again will give us a damage reduction. Both those items are pretty good, so braces 1, then I'd say shoulders #2, and then once you've picked those up, I would then move over and start rolling shards on rings, again looking to hit COE and Zodiac or any other kind of nice ring. Now you're going to have to do some bounties to set up Tempest Rush, so Rogue is obviously going to be fundamental because you want to take the Crimson set, which is going to give us extra cooldown, extra resource cost reduction, and also increase our damage and increase our toughness based on both of those. So fairly important to get them as soon as you can. Legendary gems you're going to look out for are going to be the Bane of the Trapped, the Bane of the Powerful, and also the Taeguk, and you want to just rank them up as you go. So on screen, guys, I've got my casual Sunwuko push build. I will link the full guide to this, and in that guide you will also be shown how to do it, optimally, so the absolute top push build for it. But this is kind of the setup that I like because it just makes it a little easier to play. So we have Tempest Rush Flurry. So when you Tempest Rush, you build flurry stacks. When you let Tempest Rush go, they detonate. You want to try and get yourself up to a decent amount of stacks and then let them go pretty much in your cold convention cycle, because that's going to be a pretty big spike damage. Now Tempest Rush has a bug. The stacks will just randomly drop off if you turn too quickly. Really annoying. It's very hard to actually not get them to drop off, but it's just one of those that sometimes happens. So if your stacks drop for no reason, chances are you've just turned too quickly. We've got Cyclone Strike, Wall of Wind. This will give us a freeze, so anything that gets sucked towards us with the automatic Cyclone Strike from the Wankim Lao will be frozen. It's great because it means that they're not doing any damage to us because they're frozen, and also we're activating that Cesar Memento because it works on blind, freeze or stun, so we just get quite a lot of damage throughout the rift because we're kind of always hitting with Tempest Rush, generally against enemies that are frozen. Top way to play this is actually by taking Blinding Flash here. And then you basically just click this to activate it, and it will give you some extra damage and it will detonate your stacks. Mystic Ally, Air Ally, this is here to help for spirit regen. Tempest Rush is very thirsty, so this is a spirit potion. So if you ever find yourself getting low on spirit, you just pop this and it comes back. Sweeping Wind in a Storm, we're going to take this for the spirit regen. Obviously we need those Sweeping Wind stacks for Sunwuko. Mantra of Salvation Agility, this is here for a little bit of extra toughness and dodge chance, so you can pop this. It will make you a little bit tougher, but obviously it does cost spirit, so a bit of a balance there. And Epiphany, Desert Shroud, you're trying to keep this perma uptime with the Zodiac, so you need a lot of cooldown, and it's giving us 50% damage reduction. Beacon of Yitar, 20% cooldown. Harmony, 40% of our single resistances lead into more auras, so elemental resistance on your gear is nice. Relentless Assault, 20% more damage to blind, frozen or stunned enemies. Everything's going to be frozen because of the Cyclone Strike, so 20% more damage. Then Seize the Initiative, more attack speed when we're hitting high health enemies. Now, these two are fairly swappable, so if let's say you find you're struggling for resource, because on my character we've got a Topaz here, I think I've got resource cost on the shoulders, and I could probably do with another roll. We've got it in the Crimsons as well, but other than that, you just got to kind of build it yourself and play about with it. But you could certainly swap over onto Exalted Soul. That would give you more spirit and spirit regen. And also the higher attack speed will kind of suck away your spirit a bit more. So again, this is something that you could swap off. So you could maybe take the Cheat Death and take Exalted Soul instead of these two. You would drop some damage, but you would make it so that you have Cheat Death and also you have more spirit. So that again is a potentially easier way to play it, but you just need to make the character try some rifts. You need some more RCR, you know, by all means take it on a particular gear piece. So I will put some points in max spirit. Again, if you have much more RCR in your gear, you might not need them, so again just play about with it, but I tend to put them out. Again, I don't like running out of spirit, it doesn't feel nice. Move speed, I've taken all the main stat Paragon out because we just want to see if we can do GR100. Now I think the only thing I've got augment wise is here 90, so it is, you know, 450 points into dex. But other than that, let's see if we can go, and we'll talk about how to play the build. So you hop into the Rift, pop your Sweeping Wind, pop your Epiphany, and this should hopefully, Sweeping Wind stacks now up to 13, and you just basically, as you can see, we're melting enemies anyway without releasing the stacks, but as you release them, then it just kind of detonates. So the idea is you've got your convention at the bottom here, which is on physical at the moment. Ideally you want to let it go on cold at the end for maximum damage, but as I say, you can see that even at this difficulty, 100 with no main stat Paragon, even if you don't want to manage your Cyclone stacks, then obviously you're going to completely crunch it anyway. Now, if the spirit gets low like now, we can just press Mystic Ally and it gives us some spirit, so that's obviously pretty nice. Obviously if we take this power pile and we'll just completely melt this. So again, you know, stacks even at as low as 30, you can detonate a GR100. You know, you don't have to play this perfectly. Obviously if you do want to start pushing up towards like 110, 115, 120, you are going to have to play this much better. You're going to have to make sure you get to your 100 stacks on cold and then let them go at the right points. Again, you'll probably have to take Blinding Flash just for the damage increase for that, but as you can see, GR100, no main stat, very tough. You know, it's fairly easy. It's a pretty easy build to play, to be honest. You know, and plus you get a lot of practice working your way up to like 100, 110, and you can work out your timings in terms of when you're gonna detonate your stacks. Now, you can play this on Patterns of Justice as well. I personally prefer it on Patterns of Justice because you get the move speed with that, but this is undoubtedly stronger. Not by much, but it is better, and it probably will be the top monk build the next season. I mean, it's probably one of the top builds in the game, and it's not particularly challenging to play, which is good. It's not something where, you know, there is a little bit of the mechanic in terms of letting your stacks go at the right point, but, you know, as you can see, you can play this casually to a really high level, and you don't have to worry too much about that. So, yeah. So that's Sunwuko Tempest Russia. Guys, it really shouldn't be too hard. The worst part about Sunwuko is getting the gear set up. It's the fist weapon. You've just got to go to bed early, say your prayers to RNGesus, and you should be absolutely fine. Other than that, guys, as I say, full written guide in the description. I will put down all of the links, all the builds, all that kind of stuff. So I wish you all the best for Season 21. Take it easy, guys. Peace.